Something which might not be so popular after this discussion, but I'd like to talk about gambling. This question has been asked repeatedly, and therefore I want to relate to it. The Talmud in Masechet, in the Tractate of Sanhedrin, page 24b, the Gemara says, the Mishnah brings that one of the people who are disqualified to testify, Besulim le'adut, is a mesahek bekubiyah. Someone who, what we call in our language, is gambles. There used to be a kubiyah, and they used to take bets with people. So the Mishnah says, is this qualified to give edut? In the Gemara, there's a mahloket, there's an argument between two great chachamim, one called Rami Bar Hama and one called Rab Sheshet, whether this restriction, for the reason of this restriction. Rami Bar Hama, the first opinion holds that the reason why a gambler is disqualified to testify is because there's an element of theft. When I say theft, I don't literally mean what we call stealing in our society. It means you're receiving money from other people which is being given unwillingly, not with full willingness. Meaning, when you purchase an object or an item, even if you overpay for it, you're getting something in return. But when a person puts money down, in intention of getting that money back, when you win it, you're taking it from him unwillingly to a certain degree, even though he's putting it knowing that he might lose it. But it's called an asmachta. He considers that an element of theft, which is the Rabbanan, a rabbinical kind of, it's called avak gezel, or gezel midivrehem. There is biblical prohibition of stealing. There's also rabbinical prohibition of stealing. And a gambler falls into that category according to Rami Bar Hama. Rav Sheshet holds, no, it's for a different reason. There's no asmachta there, because you're giving it knowing that you might lose it. And the reason why it is disqualified from testifying is because you're not doing anything constructive for society. Gamblers are not constructive people. That's what the Gemara says. Enam oskim be'ishuvo shel olam. Any other profession is actually doing some benefit to the world in the whole. And therefore, this is not considered constructive business. And that's why you're considered a careless person, and therefore you cannot give testimony on other monetary matters or any matters. So that's why Mesahek Bekubiyah will be disqualified. So there's a mahloket. The difference between these two opinions would be if a person has a different profession and he does it as a hobby in his spare time. So he is doing constructive work, but in his spare time, he burns time, what do we call. According to Rabbi Bar Hama, irrelevant if you've got a different profession. You still cannot play because it's got an element of theft. The Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch, who the Sfaradim tend to normally follow, hold like this opinion that it's considered gezel midivrehem. There's an element of theft. When Jewish people are gambling with each other, it's considered an element of theft. And that's what the Shulchan Aruch rules. Even though from the Talmud itself it's not so clear, but there's a Masechet Shabbat clearly, and the Shulchan Aruch brings it in Ilchot Shabbat as well, that one should not gamble at all. There is an element of gezelah. The Ramah brings the second opinion, which, if you have a different profession, it's okay. And therefore, those who follow the Shulchan Aruch should be concerned about the issue of gezel midivrehem. Even though according to the Rambam there is an element of theft, he holds to be disqualified from testimony is a combination. You still need to have that's your main job. That's the food which you eat, you're earning from that. However, people should refrain from gambling. Even friends want to get together and chill a little bit. But if they're doing gambling in such a way, one shouldn't. There's other ways of avoiding this restriction is by using an object and kind of putting the money down to get that object. That could be a little bit more lenient. But there's a discussion to be discussed about this. The Ben Ish Chai has a response in Rav Pe'alim. But in principle, to play card games for money and to play any gambling game for money which people put down and then the winner takes the money, that is a rabbinical restriction according to the Rambam and according to the Shulchan Aruch.